Once again, welcome back to John's Sports Corner this Wednesday afternoon. It's actually, it's the first Wednesday, I believe, Trevor,
In
the month of, I think it's the month of Simeon, if my calendar is correct. Yeah, the month of Simeon, the first Wednesday. Anyway, let's talk football. Ahead for Jamaica Reggae Boys is the Unity Cup in England, May 27th through the 31st. Jamaica will go up against Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, and Nigeria. It appears that several overseas players will not be available, so Coach Steve McLaren is likely to focus on the domestic talent and maybe some young talent in England. Jamaica will open against Trinidad and Tobago May 27th, and depending on that result, will play the winner or the loser of the Guyana-Nigeria game. Jamaica preparing for the World Cup qualifiers that begin June 7th against British Virgin Islands and June 10th against Guatemala. Trinidad and Tobago also getting ready for World Cup qualifiers. They open against St. Kitts and Nevis June 6th, followed by Costa Rica on June 10th. And the final weekend of Jamaica Premier League took place this past weekend, actually on Sunday, and scores were Capital Maroons 3-1 over Veer, Cavalier 4-3 over Malines United, Mount Pleasant 4-0 over Humble Lion, Arnett Gardens 5-1 over Harbour View, Tivoli 2-1 over Montego Bay United, Portmore 2-0 over Racing, and Waterhouse 2-0 over Dunby Holden. So the top six after Sunday's game, who move on now to the playoff round of the Jamaica Premier League, Mount Pleasant 93 points, followed by Arnett Gardens 76, Montego Bay United 75, Cavalier 69, Portmore 66, and Tivoli Gardens 58 points. Relegated teams, Humble Lion and Veer United. The leading goal scorers after the preliminary round of games are Warner Dwayne Brown of Arnett Gardens with 21 goals, John Morrow Calvin of Cavalier 19 goals, Andre Fletcher Waterhouse 13 goals, also on 13 goals Raheem Edwards of Mount Pleasant and Danique Green of Mount Pleasant, while Shaquille Steen of Cavalier with 12 goals. And after just winning just one of their first 6 games, National Women's Soccer League Chicago Stars has seen enough of former Reggae Girls coach Lorne Donaldson as their head coach. He was in his second season with the Stars after winning 10 games last year, losing 14, drawing 2, and making the playoffs. Anyway, assistant coach Masaki Hemi will serve as the interim coach until a permanent coach is named for the Chicago Stars. In Jamaica Women's Premier League, Fraser's Whip 2-1 over Arnett Gardens, Cavalier 9-0 over Real Mobay.
Oh boy.
UWI 2-1 over Federal, United and Springers 4-2 over Proven. No, Trevor, there's no rule. Just stop at 5. Just stop at a handful.
Cavaliers is brutal, John. I know it's your team, so I'm not gonna say nothing.
But these are the women. These are the ladies, Trevor. The women's team. Move on. Let's come back, or should I say, across the Atlantic now to England and English Premiership from the weekend. Aston Villa 1-0 over Fulham. Everton and Ipswich in a 2-2 stalemate. Leicester City 2-0 over Southampton. Bournemouth 2-1 over Arsenal. Brentford 4-3 over Manchester United. Brighton and Newcastle in a 1-1 stalemate. West Ham and Tottenham in a 1-1 stalemate too. Chelsea 1-0 over Liverpool. Crystal Palace and Nottingham Forest in a 1-1 stalemate. Nottingham Forest, is that where Robin Hood was, Trevor?
Oh, yes, wait for it. it was the sheriff of Nottingham.
Boy, but I think the coach with Manchester United will get a chance this off-season to reevaluate, reassess, reacquire, and hopefully he'll come next year with a much different look and results for Manchester United.
Well, they might have a little bit more experience, John, under their belt now. All depend probably on the age of his players and the experience that he had. If he has experienced players and he's losing, then you might have to turn over a new leaf. But
well, I think that's the problem. Too many experienced players.
Well,
and they probably some of them know are past their best.
You need some young blood.
And when you pass your best, Trevor,
you're going to better.
That is you're not fast forward anymore.
No.
You're operating in reverse.
Yes.
Trevor. UEFA Champions League Final is set. Earlier this afternoon, Paris Saint-Germain defeated Arsenal, who goes to 1 in the second semi-final and 3-1 on goal aggregate. And they will face Inter Milan in the UEFA Champions League Final. Yesterday, the return game between Inter Milan and Barcelona, no different from the game last week, Trevor.
Oh my, 1 goal to nothing.
After 90 minutes, the scores were once again locked at 3 apiece. Extra time. And in extra time, David Fratesi broke the deadlock with a peach of a goal.
Okay.
So Inter Milan in the final, and they'll be playing Paris Saint-Germain.
That will be quite a match.
But this was yesterday. It was really a game that you didn't want to see end. But as I watched the Inter Barcelona game going to extra time, Trevor, I started reflecting on FIFA rules and thought maybe FIFA should change extra time rules. And I'm saying that because, recently, players who play in Europe were complaining that they're playing too much football. And so I am saying to myself, well, maybe when you get into a championship game and the scores are level after 90 minutes, for the health of players, maybe what they should just do is go straight into penalty shootout instead of playing another 30 minutes of football.
That makes sense, because if you're going to do penalty after the extra 30, you might as well do penalty at the end of the 90. And that will take some of the wear and tear off these players.
Or if they're going to extra time, then maybe the substitution rule should go out the window. And you can put any 11 on the field.
That makes sense too. Fresh legs and fresh players.
But Trevor, it was what a joy it was yesterday to watch the youngster Lamine Yamal playing. And I am sorry that Barcelona didn't make it to the final, so I could see him playing in the final.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I think he's 18 years old,
Okay.
but he was every time he touched the ball, you could see two men on him.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, man, and he took a couple of shots there that just went past the upright, you know. But you could see his class, man. But you know, and interestingly, you know, his 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 mother is from Equatorial Guinea, and
Uh-huh.
his dad is from Morocco.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
And talking about FIFA rule changes, you know, Trevor.
Mm-hmm.
I've always thought one of the more ridiculous rules, especially now with the introduction of the video assistant referee, is what constitutes offside.
Yeah, that a VAR sometimes is crazy, John.
And I mean, an attacking player can be offside by just a toe ahead of the defensive player.
And yeah.
And to me, it should be a clear, there should be space between the attacking player and the defensive player to be
Yes.
offside.
Yes.
And I
That
think
makes
it's something FIFA should look at. And,
and
you know,
and hopefully that VAR handle is always straight, John.
the line.
Yes.
Well, hopefully, you know. But and it's so interesting that even recently, the former Arsenal manager Arsene Wenger, he's talking about changing that offside rule now to and well, we will see how the FIFA committee who rules on these kind of things, if they will ever adjust that offside rules.
It should be a clear step, John.
Yeah, I
You know,
think so.
I mean, it's okay for the horse to win by a nose, John, but it should be a clear,
Mm,
you know.
mm,
I mean, a nose does not really have position of the ground of the ground, and football is a territorial game, and that is you're playing it on the ground, on the air, and not in the
mm,
okay.
hmm. Anyway, Trevor, like father, like son, Cristiano dos Santos,
Mm.
eldest son of Cristiano Ronaldo, has been called to Portugal's under-15 squad for the Vlatko Markovic Youth Tournament in Croatia, May 13th to the 18th. Portugal will play Japan, Greece, and England in the tournament.
Well, let's hope the
Moving
game
on.
is strong, John.
Moving along to netball now, and Sunshine Girl and Adelaide Thunderbird star Shamira Sterling Humphrey has announced she is expecting her first child and will sit out the remainder of the Suncor Super League season. As far as the Suncor season goes, over the weekend, win number 2 for Janelle Fowler Nemhard and her West Coast Fever as they tripped up Sunshine Coast Lightning with a nail-biting 68 to 66 win. Fowler Nemhard was perfect from the spot, hitting on all 54 of her shots. Giants netball clipped Romelda Aiken George's Adelaide Thunderbird 64 to 63 in another nail-biter. Aiken George completed 40 of her 45 attempts, while the Melbourne Vixens defeated Shimona Jock's Melbourne Mavericks 67 to 59, Jock completing 43 of her 47 attempts. And in the world of basketball, Jamaica's 7'2" center Romario Gill who plies his trade with Club Orense Baloncesto in the LEB Oro League in Spain, confirmed he will represent Jamaica this summer in the 2027 FIBA World Cup qualifying tournament. Gill, who attended Seton Hall University, was named Defensive Player of the Year and Most Improved in 2020. Though undrafted in 2020, he was picked up as a free agent by the Utah Jazz before making his way to Europe. Jamaica trying to qualify for the 2027 FIBA Basketball World Cup.
Okay.
Let's go to another break, Trevor. When we come back, we will travel through the Caribbean with some interesting updates.
Okay, hurricane country.